All right, I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. Thanks for joining Curtis, Hawks, and I for this really cool presentation we have to talk about our video sales letters and some of the opportunities with new marketing programs here at IMES. Curtis, how are you this morning?
Well, I'm doing well, and thanks for asking. Very excited to talk about this topic because I think there's a ton of opportunity with this form of marketing.
I agree. I see several people that are joining us have already expressed some interest in these programs. For those of you that are new here, this is one of the most exciting topics that I've had to talk about in my time in the industry, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. But first, I wanted to discuss some of why our producers like doing business with us here at IMES. Almost 38 years ago now, Charles Hiring founded IMES on a foundation of service, and that is, hey, Curtis, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. If you can turn your volume down just a little bit, I'm sorry. That foundation of service is what we really try to adhere to with all of our producers here at IMES. Whenever you call in here, of course, we try and answer the phone within 2 rings. You're always going to get a live person. You're never going to get a voicemail, and we do everything we can to make sure that we give you the best service possible. And I've been around the block in the industry. I've been with 3 different IMOs. I worked at one back in the day that Curtis worked at, where a lot of people branched out and started their own IMOs. So there were a lot of good people, a lot of talent in the industry that's now leading the industry that started there. And then I worked at the largest IMO in the country recently. And what I can tell you is that from all the people that I know inside of the industry and at some of the leaders, some of the groups that are leading the industry, I would say our service is really unparalleled. So that's an important topic for us, and we hope that we can demonstrate that for you here at IMES. One of the programs that our new producers are typically very excited about is our new producer builder program. So I call it our new producer bonus, and there are different thresholds that you can meet during your first 6 months contracted with us here at IMES. $100,000 going up to $1 million in production. Annuity, fixed index annuity counts dollar for dollar. Target life typically counts around 10 to 1. MIGAs count as half. So if you write, a $500,000 case in your first 6 months with us, we can reinvest in your practice in a big way. Basically, the idea here is a producer that proves that they can close business in, their first 6 months here with us is worthy of investing in. We want to keep your sales funnel full in 2014 or 2024 and beyond. And so there are a number of different things that we demonstrate we can do here. It's not limited to these different items. Like I had a producer hit the $1 million mark recently. We put on 3 seminars for him. That's awesome. He's continuing to see clients going into 2024. The first quarter is full for him. But if you're interested in leveraging this program to do what we're talking about today, these video sales letters, certainly any type of effective marketing is what we want to help you do through this program to keep your sales funnel full. Just like you guys, the best new client we can get is a referral. So if we do a good job with you, and the best compliment I guess we could receive is a referral, and we want to pay you for that. When somebody that you send to us gets contracted, we're going to give you $50, but that's really not where the impact of this program is. It's when that new producer that you refer to us starts writing. Anytime they write, you're going to get an override on the business that they write. So as you see there, I'll use the example of an indexed annuity is going to pay you 20 basis points. So if you have somebody who you refer to us write a $100,000 case, you're going to get $200, and that's indefinite. For as long as you're contracted with us here at IMES, you will get paid that override. So for those of you that aren't wanting to take on the responsibility and the burden of developing an agency, this is a great alternative for that. And if you just have some friends in the industry that can benefit from the resources that we can provide them, then we'd love for that opportunity. So I think we do three things really, really well here at IMES. The first that I'll highlight is back office support. So like I was telling you guys, I've been around for a while and I've seen the best the industry has to offer. I think we do back office support as well as anybody else in the industry, probably better. So the way it works is we've got two teams. We've got Michelle and her team on the life side, and we've got McKinsey and her team on the new business side. And we've got experts with each of the carriers that you may want to work with who know the ins and outs of that carriers and how to get business from submission to commission. And so they will help expedite that process, try and head off anything that could come in the way of a case getting issued before that happens. But when something does come up, they will communicate with the carrier and with you, try and take as much off your plate as possible to get that business pushed through. Our website is a very comprehensive tool resource for our producers. We have everything there from a sales collateral to annuity rate watch to industry news. If you haven't had a walkthrough of our website, please get with your annuity or life sales director. So myself, Matt Sabala, on the annuity side, I'd be happy to walk you through this, or one of our life team members to show you where the critical resources on our website are. It's also a great way to submit business electronically, and that's the next thing I'd like to talk about. Firelight and iPipeline are ways that you can really become more efficient in your practice. If you're not using these resources, honestly, you're missing the boat here a little bit because it can expedite the process for you. Some people think that, well, I work with older clients and they wouldn't be able to figure this out. It actually makes it simpler for them most of the time also. There's a very slight learning curve. Just like the website, we will spend the time to walk through that process with you and make sure you're comfortable. But if you aren't leveraging those electronic submittal processes, we can save you a lot of time. And some of the carriers actually incentivize you to write business that way, or will take a little bit of your commission if you don't write business that way, because it helps speed up that process of getting that business looked over and getting you paid. So that's accessible on our website, just a couple of clicks. If you need help with that, please let us know. We'll walk you through that. The second thing I think we do very, very well is creative marketing solutions. So Curtis, in addition to being an executive vice president and part of our ownership team here at IMES, also heads up our marketing team. And they have done a fantastic job of becoming a comprehensive resource to our advisors. They'll do everything from business cards, stationery, to websites, to all the way up to getting you on the radio in front of thousands of people if you'd like. If you need anything to increase your presence in your area or look credible, because that's so important this day and age, if you're going from a first appointment and having trouble getting to that second appointment and you don't have a website or it doesn't look as credible as it should, that may be one reason why people are going to check you out online. If you don't have that, let us help you with it. Also, if you have goals for 2024, which I hope you do, but if you don't, talk with us. We'll help you put a plan together to identify your goals and leverage the resources here at IMES to help you achieve those goals through our marketing solutions. We will back into a process that meets you where you're at. Make sure we leverage marketing strategies that you're comfortable with to help you achieve those goals through a comprehensive and custom marketing analysis. So if you'd like us to do that for you, we do it free of charge. Just let us know. We'll sit down with you and go through that process with you. Back in 2016, 2018, when the fiduciary ruling was, the buzz of the industry and people were worried they'd have to go and get their securities licenses, we developed IMES Wealth Management. It was an excellent resource at the time for our advisors to leverage securities professionals to make sure that they stayed in compliance, and also to potentially go and get their license and just offer a more comprehensive package for their clients to be able to offer securities that leave money more in a growth bucket. It's become very successful for us over the years, and now in 2024, that topic is very important to our advisors again. It doesn't look like you're going to have to get your securities license this time around. It didn't turn out that you had to even back then, but when you have a client who you feel like is wanting to have a conversation about leaving some of their money in the markets or leaving money in a less protected growth vehicle, then if you don't have a securities license, you can leverage this team. They will actually join you on a call and help you keep that client close so they're not having to meet with another advisor. And if that client does put part of their assets with IMS Wealth Management, they will make sure that they're keeping that client close. And if you ever do earn your securities license, any managed money that's over there will then be flipped to you so you can earn a commission on it. But the main thing is it's a resource to you to not lose that client to another advisor. And if you are an advisor considering getting your license, I will set you up with a meeting with Duncan Smith over at IMS Wealth Management. What we've learned is advisors who do have a securities license typically close quite a bit more in insurance business as well. So it's an excellent resource to you. Let us know if we can help you out there. I am going to launch a poll here real quick. Sorry if that popped up. I'm going to launch a poll real quick. If you're interested in having a more detailed conversation about IMS Wealth Management, please let us know. We'll only leave this up for about 20 seconds here, but please let us know if you want me to set that up for you. All right, my part is almost done here. Let's go ahead and move on. The third thing I think we do really, really well is high-level training here at IMS. Again, I've seen what the rest of the industry has to offer. Nobody does it better than we do it at our Life and Annuity Academy. So in May, I don't have the dates right in front of me, but I think it's May 17th, right thereabout. We're doing our first one this year. This is not Life and Annuity 101. This is high-level training from other top advisors at the top of their game in the industry, best practices, sales processes, an overview of the marketing resources that are available to you, changes in the industry, product that is really hot and that has a place in potentially your practice. Unanimously, when I've been out to these events, I've seen advisors go back to their practice with new ideas to implement to help them close more business. And almost unequivocally, people have seen an increase in the business that they're doing because of these academies. They're all inclusive. Typically, they're all inclusive. We may adjust that just a little bit this year to make sure we get the right people to the events, but typically we're going to pay to have you out to these events. We'll cover your flight, your hotel, and we just want to help you close more business in your practice because at the end of the day, that's how everybody wins. If you're interested in attending one of our Life and Annuity Academies, please let us know. Like I said, the first one will be right around May 17th. I'll get that date for you before we finish up here. Excellent opportunity to learn from people at the very top of the industry. All right. Wouldn't be a presentation if I didn't ask you to like and follow us on social media. Facebook and LinkedIn are where many of our advisors go to engage us. Make sure your clients have the opportunity to do the same with you. I had a producer not too long ago tell me he did not give, and pardon my English here, he did not give two shits about social media. Well, you should because your clients do. If you would like to have that capability in your practice to keep your clients close and engaged with what you can do for them, let us know. We will help you build that out. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Curtis to talk through VSL. Thank you, Curtis.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody taking some time with us this morning. We understand that you were busy working in your business, running meetings, prospecting, marketing, all those types of things, and you're taking some time with us today to learn about VSLs and talk a little bit about how we can help work on your business. So for those of you that aren't familiar with video sales letters, this is a really unique way to get to your target market. It's through Safe Money Marketing. And as many of you have seen here over the last year and a half, this is a platform that's been launched that has been primarily focused on group event marketing, whether it's educational, dinner, or webinar-based marketing, and we've seen a lot of success around that. In fact, we'll we'll spend some time, a couple of minutes here at the end of the presentation, talking about some of the results that we saw last year. But our goal at IMES, and for those of you that don't know, we actually have over 27 unique marketing systems. And the reason for that is, I've done this a long time, and I have yet to find something that I feel like is a silver bullet. And so when I look at the top advisors that I've worked with over the years, the one common theme that I've seen when it comes to marketing and prospecting is that they implement a marketing strategy. They have a few different spokes in their marketing wheel. And so that's why we've built out the portfolio of offerings that we have, so that way when we're meeting with an advisor, we can figure out, what does the business look like right now? What are your goals? What do you want it to look like? And what is the right combination of systems to help you get to where you want to be? And so with video sales letters, we think this can be a very strong spoke for a lot of advisors in their marketing wheel. And it's designed around one-on-one interaction. So with this type of a platform, you're not doing group marketing. What you're focused on is one-on-one marketing. And for those of you that are not super familiar with that type of a process, you've probably all been on social media at some point in time, and one of the things that you see on there are advertisements, right? So there are advertisements that are going through the news feeds on social media. And consumers click on those each and every day and submit their information, whether it's in the financial services space or other types of industries. And so with a video sales letter, what it's designed to do is generate a greater buy-in from that consumer in advance of them getting to you. And so that consumer, when they're seeing an ad come through, it's actually going to be a video. Typically speaking, these are going to be anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes that consumer is watching the video on a particular topic. And then at the end of that, it's going to give them the option to either set an appointment with you or request additional information. And so the goal of that is because we've got a greater buy-in, and then we're leading with an educational approach. So what's not offered on this is we're not offering a dinner. We're not offering a gift card. The whole process is oriented around giving them a level of education on a particular topic, and if they're concerned about their strategy for addressing that topic, then they can request additional information from you or set an appointment right then and there. And so we want to put our advisors in the best spot possible to have the best entry point and starting point when they are engaging with that consumer. And so I'll put this on the screen here. You can see it's kind of a flow chart, probably looks a little bit like a mess, I suppose, to a certain extent. But my point of putting this up here is there is a litany of touch points and technology that we incorporate into this process, from the display ads that we're doing, the video, the remarketing to consumers that are engaging with it, following those individuals online, and then ultimately getting them to either set an appointment or request additional information. And then you can see that we've got an automated multi-vertical approach to dripping on that individual, be it text, email, voicemails, etc. And so there's actually, from the point in time that somebody requests information, 28 touches in roughly the first week. And so the whole point of that is to really nurture that prospect and get them to engage with you. All of this has been detailed out. So this is a platform that we worked and developed on over the course of several months. And the whole point of that is success in marketing, when you look at that, is much more closely tied to implementation than it is how creative you are. And so we wanted to build out a process that executed at a high level and then could be added in to the advisor's business, because all of you have your own business models, right? You all probably have some things that you're doing from a marketing and prospecting standpoint. You've got your referrals that you're asking for as well. You've got your appointments that you're running. And so we sought to design a platform that could get added into what it is that you're doing that is running in the background, and for that advisor, you just start seeing prospects coming in and appointments coming into your system, and so it kind of seamlessly integrates into what you're already doing. So when you look at this, essentially what we're doing is creating an additional funnel that has a flow of prospects that are in your target demo that you want to get in front of, and utilize a variety of different topics depending on your entry point. So what you'll see here is we've got a variety of traffic resources. So obviously we're going to look at general area or region. Primarily what you're going to see on the appointment side is that these are consumers that are scheduling a phone appointment, or they could schedule a Zoom meeting, or they're requesting additional information. So you're going to see a mix of those things based off of the topic that you're running. We primarily market off of Facebook. We will, in addition to that, run targeted ad campaigns on Google as well as YouTube. We do go through the process for each advisor when we're doing this to really dial in a customized audience based off of the topic that is going to be marketed out. And the whole point of that is marketing 101 is it's not just about the topic, it's about knowing what the interests are of that consumer. I get asked this question a lot. I talk to a lot of advisors, and one of the things that they ask me is, how are you guys different? And our thought process on this kind of follows the same theme of what I typically say, which is differentiation isn't about being different. It's about knowing what you do well, what you do better than anybody else that you know, and finding the people that need that. And that's really the tack that we've taken on the custom audience generation, is if we've got a particular topic that the advisor wants to market, then we're going out and trying to craft an audience that there's a high probability they're interested in that. And then in addition to that, we'll also include additional fields to try and qualify that prospect even further. So when you look at this, we've put all of the content, the videos, etc., the follow-up process, all of those things are already put together. And so you've got 4 topics that you can pick from. One is taxes and retirement. And so this takes a macro tax planning approach. The whole theme of it is, are taxes going to go up in the future? Well, it's a valid question. I know a lot of us believe that they are, but it drills into, well, why would they? And what are different vehicles that you can utilize for purposes of tax mitigation? And do you have a proper plan in place? Legacy maximization is oriented around estate planning as well as legacy lock, which for those of you that aren't familiar with legacy lock, and actually we've got a webinar that we're going to be doing on it here in a couple of weeks, but it's a great platform that addresses a common issue that you have for individuals, which is they've done no level of estate planning. And so when they pass away, it can be a complete mess with kids and other individuals trying to figure out where does everything go. And legacy lock does a very effective job of addressing that issue. But legacy maximization is all about capital transfer, the efficient transfer of wealth to the next generation, and do you have an optimal plan for that? We also have our federal appointment program. The government is the single largest employer in the country. And so one of the things that we found, and maybe some of you on this call have found, is that while they're working for the federal government, they really don't have a good sense of what their benefits are, and for that matter, what their financial plan should be. And so the system does a very effective job of getting you in front of those types of consumers and being able to generate a consistent flow for them. And I want to take a moment on that, on the consistent flow piece of that, and why that's so important. So when you look at a lot of the marketing vendors out there in the federal marketplace, and we've got several strategic marketing partnerships for the federal space, most of those are designed around bulk email marketing, which can be a very effective way to get in front of consumers. In fact, probably many of you incorporate some level of drip marketing to your prospect base to regularly stay in front of them. The challenge or issue with that when it comes to the federal marketplace is that the government is regularly doing purges of IP addresses. And what that means is that if you're a marketing vendor doing drip email marketing out to employees of the federal government, periodically your emails get purged to where now those don't go through anymore. And so what that can create is a lack of consistency in your appointment flow. In fact, some of you maybe even over the course of the last year have seen that and maybe even had to move around with vendors in order to try and maintain consistency in your prospect flow. And that, I think, is really a critical component of success in this business. Most of the advisors that I talk to tell me that, hey, when I'm in front of somebody, I do a really good job. My challenge is consistently being in front of somebody every single week. And that's really what we've set out to address with the federal appointment program, because it is not email based. It is based off of display ads on social networks, so there is no firewall. So when we launch a campaign, we can continue to do that and continue to generate a consistent flow of prospects and not have to restart things like you'll find with some of the other vendors out there.
Curtis, can I?
Yeah.
I was just going to say to that, I hear a lot of advisors tell me they really like that idea of a consistent flow of business, but they're not sure what the difference between a federal appointment would be and something like maybe something they've done in the 403B space or a 401k rollover. So if you could hit a little bit on the training that we have for that, and then maybe the same thing with legacy maximization. I know we have some training programs to leverage each of those appointment programs and make sure that people who haven't worked in that space are effective in that space.
Yeah, so good question. So why don't we start with the federal marketplace, because it is different, right? We do a lot of marketing in the public sector, whether that's K through 12, colleges and universities, state municipal employees, and then the federal market as well. They all have their little idiosyncrasies, and I would say the federal is probably the most complex of those. So depending on how long an employee has worked for the federal government, they might be on FERS, they might be on CSRS, they might be participating on FEGLI. Obviously, if they are participating, they might have a TSP. And so there's a lot of different topics there that an advisor, if they're going to run that market, needs to be familiar with and comfortable talking about. The other thing as well is the sales process. And so we all need to have a sales process. We all know that. Everybody on this call right now probably does have a sales process. But what I would submit to you is that as we came up and we got trained and we're told, hey, you need to have a repeatable process and you need to implement that over and over and over again in order to produce consistency. Well, I think that's true and I think that's valid. I think one thing that we need to be cognizant about is, what is the entry point of that prospect? So as an example of that, if I did a direct mail drop, and let's say it was final expense as an example, and I'm getting people responding back with lead cards on final expense, and I also did a retirement income seminar, dinner seminar, and I ran the marketing for that. I got the people to the event, I did my presentation, and I set appointments, and I'm having my initial interactions with them. Do you feel like that first appointment might look a little bit different? It might change or customize a little bit based off of the entry point of that prospect? That's what I mean on this. So even something as simple as the 403B market, as an example. Most educators don't realize that there is not a good resource at the school district for them to ask questions about their retirement. And so a common question that might come up in a first appointment with an educator is, do you work for the district? But yet you wouldn't get that question if you were sitting down with somebody for the first time after a dinner event. And so I go through that whole long explanation to get to this point. There are a number of federal training platforms out there, but most of them are oriented around what is FEGLI, what is FERS, what is CSRS, what is ATSP, how do they work? And they don't incorporate the sales training or sales process for that market into it. And that's what we've done. And the platform is called Federal Bridge. In fact, if you want to take a look at it, you can certainly, we built out a microsite for it. It's federal-bridge.com. And you can see the modules, the training courses, all those types of things that are available with it. In addition to that, as Matt had mentioned, legacy maximization. So we do integrate with a platform called Legacy Lock, and it is designed around providing that end consumer the ability to draft a living trust and then fund that with different types of assets. And so it can be a great way to not only help that consumer put together an estate plan, give them a tool that helps with the efficient transfer of wealth to the next generation, but then also creates a significant opportunity for the advisor on, well, a trust is worthless if it's not funded. So let's talk through, we made sure that we put together an estate plan. Let's make sure the assets that are a piece of that estate plan are optimized as much as possible. And so in addition to that platform, there is a training system available for that, for you to understand how does the system work, estate planning basics, a variety of different topics. But Matt, does that kind of address what you were asking?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Curtis.
Okay. So the fourth topic that we have here is Annuity Rank, and we're very excited about that. In fact, we have launched that. It is available as a topic for our advisors. And so if we walk back a little bit here and we think about 2023, that is, probably the highest interest rate environment, highest cap rate really environment that we've seen in the fixed and index annuity space in almost 20 years. And so I know a lot of the agents and advisors out there were very busy last year doing reviews, doing replacements, meeting with consumers, helping them to improve their position in the current annuities that they purchased, whether it's 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you name it. And so, in my opinion, one of the best prospects for an annuity purchase is somebody that already owns an annuity, that believes in the power and the value of annuities. And so what we set out to do with Annuity Rank is, how do we get in front of those types of prospects? How do we get in front of a consumer who currently owns an annuity, but maybe doesn't quite know all the ins and outs of it? Maybe has some questions about how good of an annuity that is. When I talk about that, I would imagine many of you have gone through that exact same process with a new prospect. Somebody bought an annuity 5 or 10 years ago. They don't even necessarily know what they have. Maybe they haven't even talked to that advisor that helped them since then. And so Annuity Rank will generate a consistent flow of those types of prospects who currently own an annuity, and what they're interested in is a review of that annuity, and they want to know, is this the best option for them? Is it working the way that it's supposed to? And if it's not, what are some other options that are out there for it? And, as luck would have it, I feel like, you couldn't craft the launch of this platform. I mean, we've been in development of this for a very long time, but you couldn't craft a better launch for it if you think about the current environment. Right now, while interest rates and cap rates are still high, and we've seen a little bit of reduction, right? I think we all expect that interest rates are going to go down over the course of this year, but cap rates and interest rates are still significantly higher than what you would get on annuities that were purchased 2, 3+ years ago. And so there's a great opportunity to be able to get in front of people and show them how they can have either more upside potential, better income potential, you name it. So, to sum it up, very excited about the Annuity Rank platform. I think there's a lot of interest in it. And I think you've got a lot of consumers that are seeing a lot of marketing out there that are wondering, do I have the best option? And do I need to have somebody come in and review it? So diving into the follow-up sequence, as I mentioned, we designed the VSL platform to be something that can seamlessly integrate into what you're doing. And so you can see the drip sequence that we've built out here for that consumer. We want to be able to actively nurture them to set an appointment with you or to request additional information once they've submitted their information. Now, one thing I would mention to you is this is not to say that when we generate a lead that you shouldn't follow up with the person. In fact, we'll talk about some of the kind of do's and don'ts with the platform here in a couple slides. But what I do want you to see is that there is a robust automated process. I mean, our focus is on how do we get you in front of not only a consistent flow of people, but the best people possible, because that puts you in the best position to be able to help somebody and convert business. And our ultimate goal is we want your calendar looking like this, that each and every day you've got a pool of prospects that you're meeting with, as well as your seconds, your thirds, etc. So there's a variety of ways that you get notified about your lead flow and appointments. Obviously, we integrate with your calendar, so we'll put those on your calendar. You get a notification via email. You'll also get inbound calls from consumers who have set a phone appointment to meet with you. In addition to that, you'll also have access to your own portal to where you can see those coming in as well on the platform. So there's a lot of different touch points to make sure that you are seeing that consistent flow of people and are meeting with them, because as we know, leads die a little bit each day, right? So we want to make sure that we're getting out in front of those people when they're coming in. So as far as do's and don'ts, we want you to follow up with the prospects. As I mentioned, this is a dual-pronged system. So it's going to generate prospects who are requesting information. It's going to generate prospects who want to set an appointment right there. So when people are setting the appointment and somebody's requesting that, it's going to transfer a call over to you at the time of that appointment, but it's only going to do it once. So you want to make sure you're following up with people and you're available. If you're getting no-shows or somebody doesn't go to an event, we want you to work with Safe Money on that. Make sure that they know about that you're putting notes in the system. We've also got Lynn, who does a lot of the onboarding with this and is kind of a liaison for you. If you're using a CRM system, make sure to get them into your CRM system. Continue to drip on that prospect. We've got our automated process, but again, and actually maybe this is a good time for me to talk about a marketing concept. In fact, maybe some of you have even heard me talk about this in previous presentations, but it's called path to purchase. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say, as an example, you were thinking that you needed a new vehicle. Most people would not say, well, gosh, I need a new car. I'm just going to drive down to the closest car lot and take something for a test drive and buy it. Most people would probably think about what kind of vehicle they want. They would do some research on it. They would look at the dealerships and then ultimately go down, test drive it, and purchase that vehicle. That's called path to purchase. Every industry has path to purchase. In the financial services space, on average, that's roughly 9 months. So what that means is from the point in time that a consumer thinks about doing something to the point in time they do it, on average is 9 months, which kind of makes sense, right? If somebody's going to retire, let's say they're going to retire tomorrow, they're probably not going to do that and then say, well, gosh, what should I do with my 401k? I wonder how to file for Social Security. I wonder how to address Medicare. No, they're probably not going to do that. They probably started that research process in advance of that. And so that's why I make the point. It's so critically important to have a lead nurturing system, to leverage a CRM system, which if you don't have that, reach out and talk to a sales director over here. We've got a number of different platforms available because if you think about it, the internet is the number one source of information across every generation. So what you'll have with any type of digital lead gen platform is you will have a percentage of those consumers that are ready to do something within the next 60 to 90 days. You'll also have a pool of consumers that engage with you that are maybe in the earlier stages of that. They're doing research right now. They're not necessarily ready to meet with somebody, but they've got assets, they've got something in mind, and they're trying to educate themselves because I think for a lot of consumers that can be a little bit of a daunting task to sit down with an agent or advisor, and so they want to make sure they've got some level of education there before they do that. And so making sure that you're drip marketing on them, make sure that when they are ready to do something, they think of you instead of engaging with somebody else's advertising. And then obviously you're wanting to set a second appointment and go through your appointment process. As I mentioned, we want feedback with Safe Money. So if the appointment went well, if the appointment didn't go so well, the more we know about that, the more we can fine-tune the campaign that's running for you. And that In addition to that, we do incorporate telesales into this, so they are getting some automated voicemails, and so be prepared for that. What we don't want you to do is when you're doing a campaign, an appointment set for you, it might be from a phone number that you don't recognize. Don't just not answer it. You want to make sure that you're answering that, and again, it's gonna transfer one call to you for that appointment if it's a phone appointment. So you want to be available. You want to be checking your calendar, look at your notifications, all those types of things. And then you want to be prepared for these meetings, right? That's no different than any other appointment that you're running. You want to make sure that you're prepared for it. You want to make sure that you understand the content that the consumer watched. You want to make sure that whatever topic you're picking, that you're proficient on it. We all know that we're going to get questions that we don't know the answer to. I don't think that a consumer is going to think negatively about somebody that says, that's a good question, let me check on the answer to that. But if that's the response to every question that consumer is asking, again, while a consumer might not necessarily decide on a first appointment that they're going to do business with you, they will definitely decide if they're not. And so, again, you want to make sure that no matter what type of marketing that you're doing, you're comfortable and proficient on what it is that they're going to have questions on. So in your first few weeks with a VSL campaign, and the first week or two, we launch the ad campaign. You want to make sure you're keeping your eye on your calendar and your email and your phone because you're going to get notifications of lead flow. Safe Money is going to review traffic performance. They're going to optimize it. They're going to monitor lead flow. And, part of what they're doing there is making sure that, okay, hey, we're following up. Want to make sure that you're seeing that you have prospects coming in. How's that going? And really have a focus on the implementation of this. And then as we close out that first month, we're checking with you on, how are the appointments going? You're getting first appointments. Are you setting second appointments? Do we need to tweak or adjust or modify anything on this? And again, I think it goes back to a core theme, which is we want to put you in the best position to be able to close sales. And that's not just doing one thing. Actually, when I first started and started working in the marketing space, one of the things that was told to me is that success in marketing is all about the littles. The little things that in and of themselves are not a huge deal, but collectively, done consistently, make a big impact. And so we've got a very big focus on those littles, and that's part of the reason why we want to have the engagement level with you. So when you look at our VSL platforms, we've got, as I mentioned, 4 topics. So we've got the taxes and retirement, the legacy maximization, the annuity rank, and then we've got the federal appointments. So on the first 3 topics, the way that's structured is it's done on a quarterly basis. So you're basically paying for a quarter's worth of advertising. In your first quarter, that's $6,000, includes a setup fee for the platform, et cetera. And then each quarter thereafter is $4,000 a quarter. And I want to talk about that for a moment because, one way to think about it is it's kind of like about the price point of what you would spend if you were doing a seminar. But instead of doing one meeting and then working it afterwards, you've got your advertising for the entire 90 days in that quarter. And so what you'll find with that is in the digital prospect space, and especially if we're talking digital annuity space. I mean, we work with a number of strategic marketing partners. It is not uncommon to see lead flow that costs anywhere from $300 to $500 per lead. And so then you think about a platform like this to where it's going to run in the background for you over the course of the quarter. Not only is it going to generate appointments, but it's going to generate prospects for you as well. It gets down to a very, very low lead cost and appointment cost for those consumers. And again, it's something that's running in the background. Your entry point is, oh, I've got an appointment or I've got prospects I need to follow up with. Everything else is taken care of for you. The federal lead gen is priced a little bit differently. So you'll see there that we have basically 2 pricing tiers. So at $100 an appointment, and you've got to purchase blocks of 10 is the minimum order, you'll get 10 appointments set for you. And if you are doing the appointment guarantee, the difference between those two is At the 175 level, you get 10 appointments set, but if for some reason you had a no-show, then the appointment will automatically be replaced. And so there's different options uh, there based off of what it is that you're looking for. I do get asked the question of, okay, well, what's the show rate if I'm trying to quantify this? Generally speaking, we see it at about a 70% show rate. There is some variance on that, but something to consider when you're thinking about that. But no matter what, all these platforms follow the same process. They might have a different theme or topic, but the whole point is get that ad in front of them, have them go through an educational process, watch a video, and then get to the point of, am I ready to set an appointment to meet with somebody right now, or do I want some more information? And then we're following up with them. And then we've obviously got our lead nurturing process that incorporates 28 different touches to really make sure that prospect is as warm as possible for you. And so there's, I think, a great opportunity in the marketplace. I know that many of you maybe have seen some marketing out there about VSLs and different platforms or different industries. But what I would tell you is that not only have we focused on taking a cost leadership approach on the implementation of this type of a platform for the advisors, but also trying to make something that seamlessly integrates and generates the best type of prospect that you can get. So I know that's a lot. I did want to take a couple of minutes here and just talk about event marketing. Safe money, and we've, that's the thing. This is a platform that's going to continue to evolve. Last year, we wanted to get all the event marketing launched. This year, we wanted to get the VSLs launched. And so whether you want to do event-type marketing, whether it's educational or dinner or webinar, we've got options for that. Or if you want to do individual one-on-one meetings, then that's for the VSLs. We're going to continue to be adding different things to the platform in order to, again, as Matt said, meet you where you're at, help you to get to where you want to be. But I did want to touch on some of the numbers that we saw over the course of last year with Safe Money Marketing. So if you look at the dinner seminars, on average, we generated 38 buying units per event. We had an average roughly 50% show rate. So somewhere in that, 40 to 60% show rate we saw. The top topics that we saw were taxes and retirement, as well as retirement income planning. Retirement income planning, that's more of your traditional annuity type seminar. And then we saw significant growth in the legacy planning space and incorporating legacy lock. On the educational workshop, we saw on average about 43 buying units register. We do typically see an average show rate of around 40%. And again, I think we all know why that is, right? One is offering a meal, one is not. But obviously, one of the thoughts is that, well, if I'm not offering a meal, then I'm getting a more serious person to show, which I guess kind of segues into a question that I commonly get, which is, which one's better, dinner seminars or educational events? Well, they both work. I mean, I don't think it's an either-or thing. It's more of a what's a fit for you, because I have advisors that have significant amounts of success with dinner seminars, and that's all they do. I have advisors that have significant amounts of success with educational workshops, and that's all they do. And I also have advisors who do a mix of both. They'll do a few dinner seminars, and they'll do a couple of educational. In regard to the educational, Social Security was the top topic, as well as taxes and retirement, and then retirement income planning. On the legacy planning, you'll see there that we got some of our highest average registrations for that. And again, I think that you've got a lot of consumers that are concerned about that. And one of the nice things about that is the consumers that are typically concerned about that are typically consumers that have assets that they're worried about protecting. And so whether it's an educational forum or dinner event, we've got options for both. And then, webinars are a really effective way. If you're trying to generate large pools of prospects that you can get into your drip funnel and meet with, webinars are a very effective way to go about doing that. So we saw a lot of success with Safe Money on the event marketing last year. We've already seen that already on campaigns that we've started running this year, and I think that's going to continue to be the case. So wanted to give everybody some updates on that, but I definitely, and Matt, I'll hand this over to you. VSLs are a very effective way to generate a consistent flow of prospects on a topic of your choice and really generate that consistency that you're looking for, because it all starts with that at the top of the sales funnel. If you don't have a consistent flow of prospects at the top of your sales funnel, then that's where you get that variability on your income flow, because now you've got your appointments can be sporadic, and then the business is sporadic, and then that's where you create those peaks and valleys of, oh, I had a good month this month, but this month not so bad. Think about that. If you had a consistent flow of prospects, then that means you've got a consistent flow of appointments, which then means you have a consistent flow of applications you're writing, and ultimately a consistent flow of revenue, and that's where you can really scale growth. So with that, I'll pause there. Matt, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Curtis. Yeah, I'll echo that. That was going to be my closing remark too. The consistency is so key, and we've seen this proven with these programs. We can keep your sales funnel full. I mean, if all you have to worry about is closing business, that's a problem that most of our producers are very comfortable having. And we've seen consistency with these programs as we ran them last year, testing them. We've seen consistency with the people who are running them this year, and we've got the training that shows you how to be very, very successful in this space, even at an entry level where you're still developing an understanding of these programs. The training that we have, especially on the federal and the estate planning programs, is very, very good, and our producers have been very satisfied with the results they've seen so far. So excellent ROI, another great way to keep your sales funnel full and diversify your marketing, because like Curtis said, there is no silver bullet. You definitely don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because what if that basket breaks or dries up, you know? These are great ways to diversify how you're getting appointments into your practice. So if you have more questions on safe money events, VSLs, please let us know. I will reach out to you and have a detailed conversation. Again, I'm Matt Sabala. All of our annuity sales directors are familiar with these programs, but I'm happy to have a detailed conversation with you on any topics that you still have questions about. All right, guys. Curtis, I don't have anything else. Thank you guys for joining us. Curtis, do you have anything else to add before we shut this one down?
No, I think you had a good wrap up, and I appreciate everybody taking the time to be with us today.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you at the next webinar, and I will be reaching out to you with anybody who had questions. Thank you. Take care.